What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks. DJ Buck with you. Buck, happy game day, buddy. I know you got the high school season kicking off tonight. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, DJ. I am great. Kind of excited. It's funny, like you spend all this time where football is the one game where you practice far more than you ever play. And now we're here. And so you wake up and you're like, oh, we have a game today. What's it going to look like? How are we going to approach it? It's all fun and games, though. But I think the funny thing, because we're taping this now, like 9 p.m. local time, we had a morning walkthrough just to see the nervous kids, the nervous energy, all that stuff bouncing around. To me, it's kind of like reliving Friday Night Lights, because you remember when you used to have the butterflies and all that other stuff. So it's the fun part, like watching them kind of play and living vicariously through them.
All right, couple questions I want to get to you on this. Number one, no hat, visor. What are we doing? What are we doing on the sideline?
I'm typically a hat guy. Like I normally have kind of like a Nike running hat that I've always kind of utilized, but I've gone some games without a hat or whatever. I've never been able to do the visor thing, because for me, if I have the visor on, then what's going to happen? I'm going to have the nasty ring.
Oh, the sun line.
I'm going to have the sun line, and it doesn't really work. So I'm a little envious of Brian Schottenheimer and some guys that can wear the visor, but I never could be a visor guy. So it'd either be hat or no hat, and then I have to figure out if I'm wearing shades or not, because I don't have prescription sunglasses yet. So that can make it tricky when you're trying to look at the call sheet and you don't really see anything, then you're squinting.
So that was my next question. Call sheet wise, are we Sean Payton call sheet, or are we Mike Leach call sheet in terms of the size of that thing?
In fact, I have it right here, DJ.
Oh yeah, see that's more like it. Yeah,
we are.
That's more Mike Leach.
I think you have to remember back at Pac-12 Media Days one time, we finally got Mike Leach on, and it was after we had a conversation with Lincoln Riley, and Lincoln Riley talked about how Mike Leach taught him, and so Mike Leach actually gave us the demo. And so for me, DJ, I've followed it to a T. I break the call sheet up in quarters in terms of like situation and circumstance, offense and defense, keep it in my pocket, flip it, rearrange it, highlight it, have a little pen that you can make notes. I used to be a laminated guy and hang on a lanyard, but I felt like that's not a good look for me.
A little aggressive.
Yeah. So I keep it in my pocket and everything. And it's very much like, because some of the things, in TV, I always have to have like a pen in my hand or a thing to kind of keep me from gesturing wildly. It's the same thing with this. When I don't have like the little thing in my hand, like I feel like I'm just out of sorts. So I just kind of need to have it, regardless of whether I look at it. There's comfort in just having it. It's like the blankie, it's just like the little comfort blanket. Yeah.
Are we scripting out? Are we scripting out the first 15? What are we doing?
Nah, like I am. And this is funny because this would tell you like a conversation that I had with Liam Cohen. And it was right before his first preseason game. And we were talking about, he's not one that likes the quarterback to operate off wristbands. And it's not necessarily it being a crutch for the quarterback. But as he explained it to me, it was too hard for him to be like, hey, this is what I want to call, but I got to look down at my sheet and go orange 5. That's what it is. He said it's kind of an art to it. I kind of know what I want to get to and how I want to call it. And I don't necessarily have it down. It's just like a feel and flow. And for me, DJ, I kind of operate like that. I kind of know what I want to get to, but there's kind of like an art and a feel to it. The thing that I have learned to have down is got to have it play, like a 2-point play, got to have it chaos. You want that written down. So you're like, hey, this is what we're doing, 2-point play. And the other thing is the reminder, players, not plays. Let's remember who our best players are, and let's make sure when in doubt, the ball goes to them. If we lose with the ball in the hands of your best player, so be it. But don't get too cute. Think about the play and not think about the player.
All right, we're going to get some NFL stuff here, but I'm going to stay on this because I have another question for you. I've wondered this from a coaching standpoint on high school. Is someone obviously played in the NFL and been at the highest level and all the scouting experience to go along with it, Buck. I'm always fascinated by, in the NFL, you're going to run certain formations, certain look to see how they're playing you. And then based off of how they're playing you, might cue up what you want to call later on in the game. In high school, is the coaching good enough and disciplined enough that when you give certain looks, you're going to get a same response? Or is there some of it that makes it harder to coach because the unpredictability of, hey, they should not be in this look against what we're running right now? but somehow they've navigated into this. And now I had a call based on the way they should play this. And now I got to adjust because what they're doing is nowhere near how they should be playing the look that we're giving.
So I've lived 2 different coaching lives, right? So anyone who knows Southern California understands like the sections and those things. So I went from being at a school, Notre Dame, which was in the Southern section, where we're taking players that are experienced youth football players. They've been playing their whole time. And so you can kind of give them more stuff, more high IQ stuff, and we could do that. So I've lived in that life where, hey, 3x1, they're automatically going to check this if we motion. So you can kind of know what they're doing. I'm now at a school where I can't be as advanced. I'm a little more simple. I may be one formation all the time, but off of that one formation, we may have like a go-to and a counter tactic to go to it and some things. I will say there are things that you're trying to set people up for. So you run a play, even if it's a throwaway play, like I want them to see this now so I can come back to it later. I think high school is still advanced enough because high school is so different now. I would say 7-on-7, the explosion of playing the video game Madden and those things. Yeah. There are a lot of kids that really know ball and understand how to do things. So yeah, it can happen because DJ, I've done things where, AFC defenses, automatic front and coverage, where you tell them, hey, we're going to play a certain call based on formation. Those things happen in high school, and that happens whether you're at the top levels like the Mater Deis or Boscos to even at a level where we play at. There's some things that it can do, but I think the hardest thing, and it's funny because when you hear the great coaches at any level, like had a conversation with Belichick over the summer, we have talked to Nick Saban and Brian Kelly, they all come back to, hey man, keep it simple so your guys can play fast. And if you do that, man, you can have a lot of success. And so it is not showing everything that you know, but meeting the players where they're at so they can play comfortable because that's who you're playing against. I'm coaching against 15 and 16-year-olds on the other side of the field, not the coach. And so you want to make sure that you don't make it too complex or too muddy for your own players and you get in the way.
Yeah, that's good advice. Well, there we go. It's high school football season, so hope you guys are all excited for it as we are. NFL-wise, go ahead.
I got one more thing because I feel like we do recommendations and things of that nature. And you came to me talking about any given Saturday, and I have one for you. You have got to watch. If you're in the team building, you have got to watch the Dallas Cowboys Netflix docuseries.
I'm one episode in.
DJ,
I watched the first episode last night. It was awesome.
DJ, and I'm going to say this. Jerry Jones, it's about him. But that Jimmy Johnson is on another level when it comes to building a team and whatever. And like just that thing had me. I watched 2 episodes last night.
Okay, so I'm one behind you.
I was like, oh my goodness. But the way that they brought that team back and all of it, like getting a little mix of the U when Miami was Miami and him going to the Cowboys and just the dog fighting of training camp and just everything. I was like, yeah, you understand why some coaches are great and why they just get it. It's a remarkable study. That's another one that is great to watch.
So we weren't going to go here, but just off of, I watched one episode and I'm curious if you had the same thought. I'm watching this and we had said, if you remember this in the spring, I had begged the Cowboys to do something fun and exciting. And I said, I think that the passing on Manziel and taking Zach Martin obviously was the right move. They just stayed away from Manziel and all that ended up being with all of his drama. They got drafted a Hall of Fame player. But I feel like because they were rewarded for being conservative there, and that's not what Jerry wanted to do, they had to talk him off the ledge to keep from doing that. I feel like almost all these subsequent decisions going forward, like this documentary, if you haven't seen it, watch the first episode and it talks about how Jerry Jones is $50 million in debt, try and just with oil wells everywhere, just digging and hoping to hit it. And then finally he hits it and then bam, $100 million based off of one well, which, it was a risky move. Then you're watching that, you go, man, you fire Tom Landry, you go bring in Jimmy Johnson. Like that's a risky move. Think about, and I haven't got any deeper into this documentary, but this was the aggressive Dallas Cowboys, Charles Haley, Deion Sanders. Like that's bold.
They got away from that.
Trade for Joey Galloway. Like this, like
they got away from that.
They were the show, man. That was the excitement, and there was risk, and the risk ultimately paid off with 3 Super Bowls. And I'm like, that doesn't resemble anything. This is This is hiring Brian Schottenheimer. This is having going look at all the guys that they've hired along the way since then. I mean, even like Barry Switch, I'll give you credit on that one. Like that was a out of the box,
They've
bold move.
they've gone away from
They don't do that anymore.
And it's funny because we've talked about the team kind of has to be a reflection of the city, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in LA and you're coaching the Lakers, no one wants to see the Lakers scoring 80 points a game. You come to watch the Lakers score in the hundreds, Showtime Lakers, because LA is glitz and glamour and those things. I believe your team kind of has to embody those things. Detroit, the Lions and the Pistons, they're at their best when they play a gritty style that reflects those things. But when we think about Dallas is all glitz and glam. Like it is very similar to a Southwest version of LA in terms of like the way they think about it. And you do want to approach it like, hey man, we got to be bold. We got to be daring. They go for it. Like that's what they appreciate. And when they've been at their best, and he said this in the doc, whenever I've gone counterculture, it has always worked out for us. It is better for me. I've made my most money when I've gone against the grain. And he's going away from that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It seems like and I wonder if this documentary almost work as a mirror to hold up in front of him and be like, man, like we aren't that hyper aggressive, go for it group anymore.
Because when you do that, like, hey man, you go for it, you swing, you miss, but you always know this is who they are. They're gonna go bold. And I think the podcast that we were taping, you were advocating for them to go get Travis Hunter, like something that is out the box. Something that is like a bold, bodacious, because that's what the Cowboys are. And that's what they've been when they've been at their best. And you probably haven't got to it, but in looking at their team, like they kind of had that, because that's the model team that Jerry always references, right? The triplets, Aikman, Irvin, Emmitt Smith. Aikman is like buttoned up to the point. Irvin is the wild child. And then Emmitt is kind of somewhere in between in terms of competitive arrogance, but still on the details. That team kind of has to have some of those personalities to get on track. I can't say that they're all the way like that now. And maybe that's why they haven't been able to replicate some of the success that they had back then, because the pieces are different in this new version of the Cowboys.
Yeah. You think about some of the things they were able to replicate. They had those awesome offensive lines during the 90s. They had the best offensive line with Martin and Tyron Smith and all that crew that they had there for probably a Travis Frederick for 5-6 year run where they were the best offensive line in the NFL.
And DJ, okay, we'll just use that 90s team as the example. Whenever they follow that model, they have actually won at a high level. So if you think about the offensive line, having a dominant receiver outside, but the other part was having a dominant running back. So whether it's D'Amico Murray, whether it's Ezekiel Elliott, and whoever they had on the outside with the quarterback, those Cowboys teams won and got close to being the championship caliber team that you talk about. So to me, the blueprint is there and established, and every team has a formula for success. The Cowboys just got to stick to their formula. And in a way, you kind of want them to ignore all the outside noise because they've been so non-traditional, but everyone on the outside prefers a traditional approach. The Cowboys got to ignore that and do what works for them, which has been Jerry being the gambler and making it happen in a very unconventional, non-traditional way.
Yeah. Well, I know Netflix knows how to do these things, man. Like I give them credit. That I one episode, I put it on pause. How many episodes are there, by the way? Eight. See, that's Brazil. That's going to get me to Brazil, baby. That's going to be my flight. DJ, I'm not going to watch any more until then. I got a couple episodes of the college show with Any Given Saturday, and then I'm going to have that done.
Look, I don't know what has happened to them, but they are knocking it out of the park when it comes to those things or whatever. It's captivating. It is. Look, man, I told you the Saturday show, the SEC thing had me going. And then this is like kind of nostalgic because that's my era playing. And I remember those teams and I remember how bold and like, man, I was the Green Bay Packers when they were in the middle of it and we couldn't beat them. And Reggie White, the late Reggie White, we get frustrated by Eric Williams and those guys just knocking them around. But we had no answer for them. And they were bold and they told you, oh yeah, we don't have audibles. We're running right here. We're throwing over here and everyone knows it and you can't stop it. Like there is something to hey man, when I'm better than you, I don't have to trick
Hmm.
you. They were just so loaded.
It's
Just
it's
yes,
it's
well done
incredible.
thing.
Like the golf one on their full swing is incredible. Like they know how to do this whole genre, man. They've got it down pat. All right, but a couple things I wanted to hit you on as we're kind of in a little bit of this lull here before we get to the regular season. We got the last preseason games coming up, which I don't imagine you'll see much of any of these guys play. But we're seeing some back end roster trades, which I think we're seeing more of now than we did maybe 5-10 years ago, which I really really like. Harrison Phillips goes to the Jets, the defensive tackle from Minnesota. Minnesota loaded up at DT in the offseason, so that made him expendable. So he goes up to the Jets. Sky Moore goes to the suddenly starved wide receiver San Francisco
Yeah,
49ers.
crazy.
They are in a tough spot. So he gets moved. And I think this is just a trickle of it. You're going to see a bunch of these come down probably after this last preseason game. Looks like some teams, including the Chiefs, are shopping for running backs. So you're going to see some running backs moved. But I love this, man. Like in terms of let's sit and wait and hope we can claim somebody. Screw that. Like let's just do a 7 or a 6 that can get us the player right now.
Yeah, I think that's what we're seeing. And it's been a change in the league. And some of that is because, let's be honest, DJ, our contemporaries are now in general manager positions. And there's a different thought in the younger generation when it comes to building the team, as opposed to everyone talks about draft and development. That's still a big part of it. But it's, I need this, I'm going to go get this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to worry about like the pick as much. Before when we were scouting, we were at a time where everyone was hoarding all of the picks and waiting for the draft. I think our generation is more, yeah, man, I need this. So I give up this pick and figure it out down the line. I need to get a player.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been exciting. It's been exciting to watch some of these teams make moves. But DJ, some of this stuff is predictable. When you see the surplus that the Minnesota Vikings had, when they go and get Hargraves and Jonathan Allen, and then you're looking at Harrison Phillips, like, man, he's a good player, but like, are they going to keep him? And then they eventually move on from him at the end of training camp. That's kind of what you're supposed to do. Years ago, Ron Wolf used to always talk about this. The part of the reason why you fortify strengths is because if you have a surplus at a strong area, you use the excess to fortify a weak area. That's why you build strength on strength, because it gives you the freedom to do that. And some of these teams are finding value in being able to auction off some areas of strength to get back and fill a position of need.
Yeah, I think you're going to see more of that too here over the next week. Another thing I wanted to hit you on, man, one of the feel-good stories, one of the great stories, Tyson Bagent, backup quarterback for the Bears, gets himself a 2-year, $10 million extension, which is solid money for a backup. He's played really, really well in the preseason. It looks like Ben Johnson's system fits him quite well. He's done some good things when he's given opportunities to get out there. But this is a guy who's got such a great story, came from nothing. His dad was arm wrestling champion. Tom Pelissero at the Senior Bowl got a chance to arm wrestle his dad, which was a fun little piece of TV. But he was emotional and crying, just saying like his dad, when he was growing up, didn't have indoor plumbing or whatever until he was 14, 15 years old. There's so many people he's going to be able to help out with his money. I don't know that I've ever seen a player at a press conference. Normally, it's almost like shield yourself. You don't want everybody to come at you asking for this, that, or the other. He basically put out an advertisement for all his family and close loved ones. Hey, I'm going to take care of you. That was pretty cool.
You know what, DJ? Like, I think at the end of this, sometimes we get so numb to the numbers that guys make, right? We're so used to quarterbacks in the $50 million, soon to be $60 million club. And then you think about Tyson Bagent, who is, you're talking about 2-year, $10 million, which on the surface in the landscape doesn't appear to be a lot, but we're talking about life-changing money, like life-changing generational wealth that could be fostered out of that. And, I just, it's a reminder when it comes to it, when we're talking about players, and we talked about it and you brought it up more than we've ever talked about it during the pre-draft process. Guys that really love it, man. Like the hunger, the just Rick Pitino used to call it PhDs, poor, hungry, and driven. Guys that are just getting after it because, like, look, man, this is the only option. As they appraise it, there's a sense of desperation and urgency that they operate with. In watching that presser, he's operated with that edge that, hey, I got to make this happen. Like, this is going to happen. And sometimes that can be a difference maker, regardless of whatever your real circumstance is. can you manufacture that hunger, that desire, that determination to get to the next level and to do something? So I appreciate it. I love it.
I was thinking about this, and that's where I want to take it next here, because there's kids that haven't even played a game of their senior year in high school that have made more money off football right now than Tyson Bagent made in his college career. Like that's where we are. Like they're able to get this money from colleges even before they have stepped foot on campus. So I was thinking of this elevator that we have in college football now, and I think you're going to see. And again, we're trying to get to your point, trying to find, poor, hungry, driven, like find the guys who have the care factor, who really, there's a want to there. We're going to see from a competition standpoint, guys in the Big Sky, guys in the, in the non-power 4 play well as freshmen and sophomores, and they're going to get big money, and they're going to go play in the SEC and the Big Ten, and they're going to kind of graduate up to that. So that's going to be, an opportunity on the plus side, seeing these players play against really, really good competition. So it's an easier way to evaluate them. I think one of the other things that we could see, Buck, that's going to be fascinating in terms of finding the hidden guys, the guys that are driven, are going to be the back end power 4 guys who can't get on the field, who are taking that elevator down instead of taking the elevator up. And you're going to see guys that are, you talk about hungry. Hey, they won't let me get on the field. I got to go somewhere I can play. And then it is, I am all in. I got this time. I'm going to maximize it at a group of 5 school or a FCS school.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting because we are at a crossroads when it comes to that, right? So many people are chasing the bag and chasing like the NFL dream and feeling like, oh, I got to play up to have that opportunity. There is going to be a path where a team is going to be really smart, and they're going to look for all those guys that kind of fall in the cracks, that aren't necessarily able to get to the power 4 in play, but they're really good group of 5 players that have the developmental potential, but more so the intangibles to carve a path for themselves in the league. And from a collegiate standpoint, I just wonder, are there going to be enough guys who have enough humility to look around, read the room, and say, you know what? I know I'm good enough to play here, but man, I know I can play down and have more opportunities to play. Because we have said this in the league, and I know like there's so many different voices that are talking to kids now. But DJ, if you can play, we'll find you. That has always been the NFL thing. There aren't many surprises or secrets. If you're good enough, we'll find you. And that's you and I talking about, think about the far off places that we've been on the West Coast looking to evaluate players, whether it's with Lamette for me, Linfield. I mean, I've been everywhere. Carroll College and Helen. I mean, just if you can play, the NFL will find you. And I think some guys will have to understand, like, hey, I may not be able to get to the top, but I sure can carve out an opportunity for myself being a dominant player at a slightly lower level.
This is the formula that I wrote down. The best way that I can say it. If you can play, no matter where you are, if you can play, you will get paid. Like eventually you will get paid.
Yep.
If you get paid, it does not guarantee you will play.
100%.
So if given that choice, if it's close, go play, and you'll be rewarded. I think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see it's going to be a tough decision for some kids because they're going to sign with schools. They're going to get a nice chunk of money, and they're going to get beat out by somebody their similar age. And then they're going to have that little dilemma of, okay, well, they're guaranteeing me this money going forward, but I'm not sure I'm going to play. Am I really going to forego this financial security that they are offering here to go somewhere else where I don't get the money, but I can play? But man, I got to have confidence in myself. I know if I can play, I'm going to play well, and then I'll get taken care of after that.
You know, it's funny, man, and I've had the same because an old wise person told me a long time ago, chase dreams, not dollars. So you have to make a decision. What is the ultimate dream? Because if you chase the dream and you make every decision based on what the dream is, what the goal is, the money will ultimately come. But if you make decisions based on the immediate dollar and what's in front of you right now, it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to take you one step closer to the dream. And these kids have to have a true feel and awareness of who am I, where am I, and what is going to get me one step closer to where I want to go. And sometimes that may mean taking an off the beaten path journey to get there, but you still get to the same destination. You just have to keep the main thing the main thing. What is the dream? Where do I want to get to? I can get there in an alternate. I don't have to go straight path. I can take a curve. I can go on a detour and still get to where I want to be.
Yeah, no, it's a fascinating decision. These kids are put in a position where there's no history to draw upon. There's no example of what the right or wrong way is to do it. So I don't envy them in that respect. Looking forward to a great start of college football. We've got Farmageddon this weekend, Buck. That'll be a fun one. K-State, Iowa State should be a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. And look, here's what I'm going to say, man. We just talk about like good coaches. And I just think about the program that Iowa State is and has become. And Matt Campbell has done a really good job of not only building it up, but falling back and then building it back up again. And so I think about what that is. And then for me, K-State has always been one of those places, going all the way back to Bill Snyder and how tough it was as a scout to go in there because they didn't let you see or do much of anything, but they've always been able to punch above their weight. And they've always had a bunch of pros that play for them. This is going to be a fascinating game to watch. You love the grittiness of both programs and the kids that come through there. Should be a lot of fun. That's a great game to watch.
Also, Rocco Becht, Anthony Becht's son.
Yeah, how about that?
He's a good
Throwing
player.
Around the yard. Throwing around the yard. Iowa State, I mean, there's some good players. DJ, there's just some – it's so funny, because when we talk about it, and this is going to be a celebrated class. And I know everyone's going to talk about Arch Manning, regardless of whether he's in this class or the next class. Like, he's going to kind of dominate the conversation. But DJ, when you look around the country, the quarterbacks that are in this class or the next one, there's some really good players that are coming. The position is in really good hands. It'll be exciting to see how this shakes out over the course of the collegiate season.
Yeah, the SEC has watched the Big Ten, hoist a couple championships here. And I'm telling you, man, this year, the quarterbacks in the SEC, they're all great stories. And it's going to be fun to watch the quarterbacks in that conference and see if they can't get right back on top of the mountain after the Big Ten's had a nice little run.
Yeah, the Big Ten has had a nice little run, and they've debunked a lot of the narratives that used to surround that conference. Because remember, for a long time, we were talking about the speed or lack of speed that used to exist in that conference. We don't talk about that anymore. You think about the wide receivers, particularly at Ohio State and some of the other programs, the way that they're able to kind of move the ball, the quarterbacks that have come out of there. Yeah, the SEC has to get some of that get back. But I'm going to be honest with you, man, that gauntlet, and I know people sometimes have this love-hate relationship with the SEC. There is no denying when you watch them play and you watch the weekly bloodbath that ensues. And it's a little different down there. It's a little different. Oh, yeah. It's a little different. It's a little different down there. And I mean, that's why, like we said for years, man, the best scouts, the teams, they're plucking a lot of those guys from the Southeast.
Yep, no doubt. We can't wait for college football to get here. We'll have some reaction from that game as well as some previews for next weekend as we really, really get underway here. Anything else you want to get into before we get out of here, Buck? I got to get out. We both my son's got a high school game. You got a high school game. I'm taking off tomorrow, San Francisco for the last preseason game. Where you at? Miami.
Right? Heading to Miami. So yeah, 6 a.m. flight tomorrow morning.
It's fun though, isn't it? Good to be busy. I like being busy, man.
It is. I mean, now DJ, like we're rolling downhill, heading into the season. College, pro, high school, all of it is going all at one time. So this is a fun time of year for me, especially.
All right. Well, good luck. Go get them tonight. Go get you a win. I want to hear all about it when we catch up next week. But that's going to do it for us. We'll see you next time right here on Move the Sticks.